Good evening, Brosivs and other folks. Welcome to the Brosuv Fantasy Football Podcast. It is November 24th. Week 11 is in the books. Turkey Day is 2 days away, and we have 8 teams fighting for 6 playoff spots. And in lieu of a sponsor this evening, I'd like to ask one simple question. What is fantasy football? Or more specifically, what is the point of fantasy football? What is it that compels us to play together after all these years, decades even? It behooves us to ask once in a while and remind ourselves why we play the game. Fantasy football isn't about winning. It isn't about losing, although surely those things are a part of the game. Fantasy football is not a fair game, much like football itself. Sometimes a referee's decision decides a game, on a phantom call. Sometimes your running back dominates carries only to get vultured at the goal line. Other times your favorite team gets shut out by a garbage squad starting a third-string quarterback. And sometimes you lose your matchup by 0.38 points. Sometimes your RB1 gets concussed in practice 2 days before game day. But if you step back from it all, take a deep breath, for a moment, you'll realize that all the random, nonsensical, unfair turns of event, the macabre and the downright goofy are exactly the things that make fantasy football fun. Otherwise, we just give Gaudy high points, give him the blind squirrel, and say, we'll see you next year. My challenge to the BFFL this year is to embrace the chaos and remember that it's our shared friendship and a healthy dose of shit talk that makes the game fun. It's why playing in Geno League is always so boring. You're looking around wondering, who the hell are these other people I'm playing with? I've never met these people. It's not so much the game or what the rules are, whether it's 2QB, whether it's super flex, IDP, you have a team defense, you don't have a team defense, you amend the team defense's scoring, you don't have a kicker, or you do have a kicker, you got 3 wide receivers, regular flex, you have fab, no fab, roster restrictions, IR slots, playoff reseeding. It's about who you're playing it with. And listen, if you're not having fun this year, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you're going to suck ass again next year. Now, I'd love to welcome back host Ryan Hartz. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Connor. Great to be back. Couldn't ask to be anywhere else.
And Gaudy, 2 weeks running. Welcome, buddy.
Happy to be here. Let's keep it rolling.
And Corey, for the first time on the BFFL pod and fighting for a playoff spot here deep into November. Welcome to the pod, bud.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Weez. Great to meet.
We got a great little crew tonight. I'd say since we're sitting here, let's just start off with a little Week 11 recap. We've got a lot of storylines that we can look into, and I'm just going to start at the top of what I'm looking at here. A huge upset. Not sure how much of consequence it will be, but Kevin Noon, getting his 3rd win of the year, coming out and beating a heavy favorite in yours truly. Unfortunately for Nooner, he's out. He's already eliminated. There's nowhere he can go. But do you think this might be a sign of future hard times to come for Team Doyal?
Please, want to take it first?
Take it first.
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right. No, I'm not too worried for you, Doyle. I think you got a good squad. I don't know if you're championship worthy, but the 2 QBs definitely, you figured that out early this year, getting 2 of the top QBs, and I think that's helped you a lot. I think that will carry through the playoffs.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's hard, it's hard to count you out, at least, having the 2 quarterbacks like you do. But, the team's not all that great. But, anytime you have 2 best quarterbacks, when you're playing 2 quarterbacks, you really got a shot. I know Ghilani might tell you that now he fixed it. But I don't know if he fixed it or if it's just a small sample size. So, I still like your chances. I think you're already locked into a playoff spot, but I don't see you winning. Sorry.
Hey, I have the same concerns you guys do. I will say I have yet to field a full squad. Had a lot of injuries, and I do think that the phantom concussion to Swift hurt. And but honestly, hey, I don't blame you for saying that. Honestly, a low scoring game, anytime 85 and under, don't really deserve to win. But hey, kudos to Noon for getting that W. Maybe getting some confidence going into 2021.
Right. Yeah, I just got to say, before we move on, I agree with what my co-host said. Doyle, top 4 team, not championship team. 2-team QB or 2 QBs team, whatever you're calling your team nowadays. But let it be an example to the rest of the league. Noon. He does not complain. He had some bad luck with his drafting. Saquon Barkley, he takes his guy over some other options. Of course, he gets injured. Not his fault. Hasn't complained. He's losing games left and right. Hasn't complained. Just keeps playing the game. And if you stay with that attitude, you will be rewarded, especially against 2 QB teams like the way out this week.
Yeah. Hey, and really, to be honest, all you have to do is make the playoffs. This isn't for Noon, but this is for Connor. All you have to do is make the playoffs, and anything can happen.
Yep, we see it year after year. Yep.
So I mean, obviously, you can't count you out because anything can happen once you get in the playoffs. But there's I'd rather have Gaudy's team than your team. But
oh yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't argue with that, but what I would say is I have not really had an opportunity to start my full starting roster. I think the team that you're going to see, I mean, good Lord willing, DeAndre Swift's going to get over that concussion by Thursday. The team you're seeing is going to be a team you've never seen before. We got Mostert coming back. We got a new sun coming over the horizon, and I think I might peak as the playoffs approach. We've got another matchup. It's interesting because both these guys are here. Gaudy outlasted Hartz. He only scored 90 points. And honestly, kind of a down week for Gaudy given how his season's gone. But luckily, Hartz didn't really show up for the matchup.
Thanks, Hartz.
I mean, if you look at Gaudy, if you would have said, he's definitely got the best team. Everyone's going to say that he's got the most points, but the last 2 weeks he hasn't put a bunch of points on the board. Any concern for Gaudy going forward?
Am I allowed to answer first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no concern. Definitely not a guaranteed championship or anything like that. Not concerned. Had a bye week, a quarterback bye week, and a team just not really showing up, but I think a 90 point on a bad week is a pretty good week. And I'd like Rod or Commissioner Connor here to throw this out as a Twitter poll. After the last couple years, I used to be the worst team in the league by far. Couldn't even argue it. Last 4 years, really put it together. One championship, couple good teams, another good team. Would you consider me a legitimate fantasy contender at this point?
That's a good question because you've had 2 good seasons, this season included, and the rest have been actually what was it? Two seasons.
Oh.
2 seasons ago, you had a really good year, but you just had bad luck scheduling, right? Well, that was 2 years ago.
Yep, I had a bad. I won, then I had a lot of points against with like a 6-7 record or something. And then last year I had a winning record, made the playoffs, I believe, lost to Hartz by a half point or something like that. But again, another squad.
Classic.
And then again, having the most points thus far this year, I just really like there. But what's the rest of the league thinking?
Yeah, I think Rod should put that out there because that's a very interesting question. I'd like to know what everyone thinks. At first glance, it's no, you're not there yet. But when I think about it, I think you might be. There's also there's a chance that this is all completely fucking random.
Right. 4 seasons is a pretty small sample size, but you have been pretty good the last 4 years, and I got to hand that to you. But I don't know. I wouldn't really be going out and trying to replace you in my division with somebody else.
Oh.
I don't mind having to play you every year. Like, that's fine with me. you and Ghilani. Ghilani likes to say it's the best division in the BFFL, which I tend to agree because I'm in it. But I don't know if it's because of those two in it though.
Well, you and Ghilani are really not keeping up the division this year.
Not this year.
I mean, if we're going by this year, it's obvious that Corey's division is the best. I mean, there's all three of those teams you could argue deserve to be in the playoffs. I don't think all three have the possibility of making it just because of how the schedule is turning out. But I mean, all three of those teams are squirrel contenders. Would you agree, Weez?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, the only ones with less points than Hartz and Ghilani is Gino and Noon.
No, Mahar.
Oh, bye week. Sorry.
And Wheezy is only. Well, I guess he's in 7th in points, so it's not like great. And be in the playoffs.
In response to that too, I've also been without my number 2 3 draft picks for most of the season.
Me too.
Yep.
Who are we talking about?
Yep.
CMC, or my number 1 and number 3, CMC and Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kittle's not coming back though, is he?
He's not now. He missed some time early also, and now he's done probably for the season.
Who, CMC?
No, Kittle. And then CMC, I don't know what the fuck's going on with him. He's week to week, but still not playing.
Dude, that's the ultimate make the playoffs, and then he comes back.
Right.
I mean,
if you can get in and he comes back, man, that dude's a game changer.
Right.
He puts up more points than anybody, and basically when you draft him to carry your team, because you're getting the first pick and then the 24th pick. So right off the bat, you're already assuming he's going to carry your team.
That was the plan at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, unless 2 idiots pass on him in the first 2 picks.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was
apparently
pretty
they
amazing.
were smart though. They knew what was going to happen.
I'm sure.
Oh,
Well, since we're talking about Weezy's team, let's talk about his matchup with Mahar. Mahar's actually still in it, technically, despite losing this week. Yeah. But I mean, Weezy's team, if you look at it, I mean, look at the guys he's got on his bench. I mean, he's got Kittle, he's got McCaffrey, he's got Jonathan Taylor, who honestly we expected a little more from, but still a guy that you feel like could turn it on at any time.
Looked good last week.
Yeah, I mean, this team has a ton of talent. And he has both Arizona running backs who both have displayed some nice value there. I mean, and he snagged Damian Harris.
Weezy has a very loaded value team.
What does that mean?
Got all that loaded value. Connor, you're the one that invented loaded value. Do you need to explain it to Weezy?
Well, loaded value is, I guess, whenever you're able to buy low on studs, I guess is how I would say it, right? I mean, Jonathan Taylor, even though he's been a little disappointing, I still feel like he's a guy you could start if you wanted to. You've got both Arizona running backs. Both have been RB2 material. Yeah, Damian Harris probably snagged him off the waivers.
Yep.
He got Will Fuller V. He got real late. It's just a loaded value team. You're absolutely right, Gaudy.
Yeah, and I just think, for those of you out there that don't know about loaded value, the example of loaded value is really, what was it? It's like a $20 Pirates ticket sitting in the outfield with $10 worth of free food. You got that loaded value, the extra $10. So you got a good deal of 20, but then you got an extra $10 free for the food. So he's got a solid starting lineup, great starting lineup. He's got that extra loaded value on the bench with people ready to plug in.
Yeah, you get a ticket to the ball game. You get a free big beer for $8 and $2 dogs. That's what we call loaded value here in the Berg. Do we think Mahar has any shot? I know he's not mathematically eliminated. Do we think he has any shot? I mean, he's got Michael Thomas coming on at the end of the season strong, Keenan Allen. I mean, he's got a great wide receiver core. He's got Nick Chubb, who's came back. Do we feel like Mahar has any chance to sneak into the playoffs here?
Small chance. He's not eliminated, right?
What?
I think his chance, he lost his chance when Jameis wasn't the starting QB. I think he had a strong chance then, and then Taysom Hill happened, and he lost his chance.
That's a great point.
I think it really hurts him that he's his points for are so low. So, like, even if he does get there and gets the record, he's still going to be hurting for making the playoffs for the points. So, there's got a lot of things have to happen, right?
I mean, it really hurts. His team's not very good.
You don't think his team's very good?
No, hurts him.
Let me look.
I think he's got a pretty decent team. It's a too little, too late team. If he maybe had won one or two more games leading up to this, but look, I mean, that's not a bad team. No. But just too little, too late. I don't really see any path to the playoffs for him, especially with that NSM division, being as strong as they are.
Yeah, I got to check with the graphics, guys, but my graphics are showing that he's number 10 in points for. I mean,
yeah, of course. What I'm saying, he's coming on. Of course, he's been garbage, but he's coming on because
Chubb
was hurt. Mikey Thomas wasn't playing. I mean, there you got two top 5 at their position right there.
Oh, so maybe he's a spoiler. So he's going to play spoiler, maybe.
He might play spoiler. All
right. What's his schedule? Who's he playing?
I just think that if he can make it in the playoffs, he has a good shot to make a run. But I don't think he's going to make it in the playoffs.
Well, even if he wins too, like you said, Hartz, the points.
Right.
He's got no chance after the points.
Right.
So let's see. He's playing Oozing Machismo week 12. And then he's going to go ahead and play Andrew. So that's two tough matchups.
That would be great. I'm actually rooting for Mahar now.
Knock Andrew out. Take his spot.
Ghilani, and we take down GB. That's hilarious.
Well, let's go ahead and transition over to
winning the division though. Like, even if he were to win 2, he has to play the other 2 in his division, so he can't take them over for a record. It's impossible.
Who are you talking about?
Let's go and segue right into Andrew's matchup then, because Andrew got beat by Oozing Machismo, and honestly, this has been such an Andrew team. Like, there's kind of Andrew and Machillan both have these kinds of teams where they just start out strong. They're really good for like 7 weeks. You're like, holy shit, these guys might win the squirrel. And Andrew's kind of free falling. He's lost 2 straight. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I still think he's a contender, but he needs to right the ship. He's lost 2 straight, and if he continues losing, he could miss the playoffs.
Right. Potentially.
He was a 2 seed, a week ago. He was a 2 seed a week ago. He's still in the playoffs now, but he needs to keep winning. He needs to right the ship, because
he needs 1 win.
What's his record if he does not win out? Like, if he loses both games, what's his record?
7-6.
7-6. So still probably in.
Yep. It's very
not necessarily.
He plays Gaudy next week, and then he plays Mahar. So luckily for him, he does play Mahar. But again, that's Mahar's chance to play spoiler.
He needs 1 win. If he gets 1 win.
Yeah, but if he's 7-6, who else can get to 7-6?
I mean, me and Ricky could both get to 7-6.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that could be it. Hawny wins the division, GB doesn't, and Wheezy / Tricky Ricky beat out GB. Oh, GB.
Yep. It could happen. Yeah. I think it's a long shot, but it could happen.
What about points-wise? GB's got some points.
I mean, yeah, he does have points on his side. I'd say, Andrew, you got to just right the ship, talk to your players, and wear a mask when you go to church. If you're looking at Andrew's team, it's hard to see where it's going wrong. I mean, the team is a good team. I don't know. I guess losing Joe Mixon hurt him.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks for sure.
That's right.
Let's actually just talk about players.
Even though quarterbacks don't matter this year, the quarterbacks are what's hurting them.
Let's talk about GB's players real quick, because I'm kind of confused how he has so many points.
He has a couple weeks where his defense had like 35 points.
He is Alvin Kamara. That's why.
Yeah, and Calvin Ridley was a top 3 wide receiver until he got hurt, and he's still top 10. He's still really good.
And Darren Waller's fucking huge too. Tight ends, fucking
Waller. Trade me Waller, G.
Very tight end. Since you mentioned trade, I want to bring this up. Trade deadline way too early this year.
Way too early.
Yes.
I didn't even know it was trade deadline.
That had nothing to do with the league not having any say, for sure. Let's move on.
All right, yeah, sure. That's right.
It's just like why not just discuss things? Like just discussion. You know what I mean?
Do you remember 2019 when I made all these avenues for everyone to talk, and then everyone voted and didn't talk, and then you said, "Oh, I didn't understand the rules." That's why it is the way it is.
Wait, so you're gonna blame that you had a confusing spreadsheet that no one really understood and only had certain options?
We got the Rules Summit 2021. It's gonna play. It's gonna be good.
No. Listen. I'm not here to argue at the past, but I will tell you what happened. What happened was because you didn't read the rules, and then you voted, and then you complained you couldn't read. I will go to bat. I will stand here on November 24th, 2020, and I will say I am going to go to bat for everyone to have a say in the rules. One man, one vote. Every vote counted. No illegal voting. So. I'm your ally here.
Sounds good. Let me know, though, when you're thinking about reading comprehension and you're going down the list of the league and you go, Hartz, and you start going down and you're wondering, we should be wondering about starting off that kind of thing with those guys. But
I mean, we can put it on reading comprehension, or we can put it on that we didn't have the right options. Like, it wasn't discussed. Yeah, you did a spreadsheet, but if you would have discussed and got to the right options instead of having 3 options.
That's what Rules Summit 2021 is all about, Hartz. We're going to solve all these issues. 2021 is the league. There's not even going to be any complaints in 2021.
No, I don't even want to solve
the issue. That.
I want it to stay. Like, why do we have to keep changing it all the time? Like, just let us...
Hartz, we're trying to have a productive podcast here. The listeners, they don't want to hear about these little arguments,
Well, if know that the trade deadline happened, like, that's just a ridiculous thing.
But no, that's my own fault for not knowing. But listen, the what I said at the beginning of the podcast was, look, I understand. I didn't even vote for Superflex. I didn't even want it. It's not about the rules. It's about having fun. And I understand people want to have the. At the end of the day, we can't lose sight of hey, this is supposed to be fun. Like, one of my most memorable fantasy football moments of all time is losing high points to Gino on the last day of the game, the last week of the year, 6 years ago. It's not really about winning or losing. It's just about having fun. So I understand we all want to have our rules, but look. The people that are complaining about Superflex, it's because they're losing. And then
I don't think it's about the rules. It's about people being involved, right? Everyone just wants to be involved. And you have 3 people making all the decisions. People just want to be involved. They don't care about the rules. They don't actually care about the rules. They just want to have a say.
Let me ask you this, Hartz. Would you say that the 3 commissioner triumvirate has been draconian in their approach to implying the rules? Would you say they're boundaries and they've been unfair?
What's that mean?
I would say we haven't run into a situation. We haven't run into. I don't know what you're saying, but we haven't run into a situation where they've had a chance to. But if you're throwing out the way that you set up the rules to begin the season, I don't think that was right. Setting up the way that the season started was not right. It just wasn't. It's just a ridiculous thing. That's it. I don't care about the rules. I don't care what.
Were the rules laid out clearly? If we take how they were decided off the table, were the rules laid out clearly to start the season?
Guys, I got to tell you, our listeners have driven themselves off a cliff right now.
I would say yeah.
We got to get back to this, some entertaining discussion.
All right. So Hartz agrees. He doesn't agree with how the rules were decided, but they were shown to the league in a fair manner. So let's talk about Ghilani. This is the most
that question. No one cares about how they were played.
2021.
This is the most inconsequential game of the week, but we have to talk about it. Ghilani came out, and God bless him. He's had a two game win streak. Ghilani coming on strong at the end. Unfortunately, too little, too late. But he came out and he teabagged Gino's steam, which many teams have done this year. I mean, yeah. What can you say? Ghilani's quarterbacks went off, and his defense. I mean, he has a Steelers defense. They had a nice game for him, but honestly, you look. Rex Burkhead had 1 point. Juju had 1 point, but he got up to 110 just on the strength of his intangibles, his quarterbacks and his defense. Right. And Gino, you got to wonder if Gino's kicking himself taking Lamar with the number 3 pick.
Gino had
number 2.
Number 2. I'm sorry, number 2.
Absolutely, he has to be kicking himself. That was a terrible pick. I mean, no one knew that at the time, but now after the season's been so far, yeah, absolutely, that's a terrible pick. He's got to be kicking himself.
Yep.
Quarterbacks didn't matter.
Oh, who said that?
Ghilani.
Huh. Well, we'll try to bring him on next week to talk about it.
No, it doesn't matter this year what quarterbacks you have.
Well, I think what his point is that, you know, instead of it being over reliant on one, you can, you know, there's 2 to, so, you know, you can have one good one and one that's whatever. Anyway, I don't really care to talk about it. Yeah. Anything anyone wants to add about this? I mean, this is really, like I said, unfortunately, both these teams are out of the playoffs. I mean, I think a good Ghilani is good for the league. I think he's been a little disinterested this year, strictly because I think he's really busy, and then I think he also hasn't had a great season.
I don't think he's not interested. I just think he's really busy with work, and that's
funny thing is, you look at his roster. He actually does have a solid roster.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Definitely
give him more credit, but I'm just confused because he's not putting up the points, you know? I still think good team, like it should have been good, but it's not good. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
Chris Carson's been hurt on and off. Juju's been terrible.
But that's
he only has one.
It's a bad pick.
I mean, what do you mean?
Zeke's unlucky because of injuries, but
right. Yeah, he's been bad. That doesn't mean that. I mean, they're good players, but if they don't put up points, then who cares? You know what I mean?
Carson's been injured.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying the injuries are more the reason, right? Like, you're not going to tell me that, like, Rex Burkhead you would have thought would be an awesome player, right? He's obviously just, you know, trying to fill in.
It's not injury. I don't know if it's necessarily injuries. It's that the players didn't perform the way that they should be performing, right? And Chris Carson's been in, but when he's in, he performs. He just doesn't play.
I'm a little confused because it's a little bit of injuries, like definitely some injuries, like Dak going down hurts Zeke for sure. Right. But then he was in there for 4 weeks, and you just go down the roster, and I think he's got like the perfect mix of like bad picks with bad injury / bad luck,
bad result,
and that, you know, so decently looking roster on paper, but putting up no points.
Right.
I think because of those kind of 2 reasons.
Yeah.
I really feel the same about my team, to be honest. I think I have a good squad. I've had injuries, like ill-timed injuries.
Did you? I don't remember anybody saying that you had a good squad, or they wish they had Hart's squad, or really, I don't think anybody even said that you have any good players, Hartz.
Connor says it. Connor actually says it all the time, so I guess you weren't listening. But that's that's not really the point. If you want to go look at it, you can tell that I have good players. It's just that it's there here and there.
I mean, when I look at Hartz's team, it only makes sense.
Have been terrible.
It only makes sense that you don't like Superflex, because if you take the quarterbacks out of the equation, you have Miles Sanders and Ronald Jones, who didn't have a good week, but he's been a very good running back. He's a top 10 if I remember correctly. He has Nuke, and he has one of my absolute favorite players in football right now, A.J. Brown. And then he has Jonnu Smith. So, I mean, if you're talking about skill positions, he has absolute studs, and then the quarterbacks have just been underwhelming, to say the least.
Robbie Anderson.
I said studs.
Overall, he's got a C- team.
Dude.
At least B+.
And the quarterbacks, I had
Seriously?
I had Patrick for a minute. That was a top quarterback, and he only lasted 1 week, and he got benched. That's a ridiculous thing.
That's tough.
Drew Brees 8 weeks hurt, and I have to play freaking Alex Smith. It's stupid. It's unfortunate, and I'm not complaining about the rules and how I haven't complained about the Superflex. I'm just saying I like it. I'm not complaining about it. I just prefer.
Yeah, I'm not for you anymore. I just want to mess with you, but your team's not that good. Ghilani's team's better than your team, I think.
No chance.
If Miles Sanders doesn't get hurt at all?
Yeah.
Miles started off the season with 2 injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 2 weeks he was hurt, didn't play. Right? Then he came back, played for a little bit. He's now
I like Ghilani's team better than your team. No injuries on either side. I like Ghilani's team better.
If you could throw out the quarterbacks, I would rather have my team than your team.
Well, are we going to throw out the quarterbacks in the 2-quarterback league? Like, did you get the memo?
We should, because quarterbacks suck.
I agree. I agree with
they got hurt. I had quarterbacks and they got hurt. Yours haven't got hurt.
Well, Hartz did have some injury issues and some bad luck. Definitely, luck is a part of the game.
And I'm not used to having bad luck. It doesn't usually happen.
Never happens. I knew something was wrong with you when I beat you by like 2 points.
Right.
Anyway,
first year of my life that 2020 has really been fucking me up with the luck. I've been so lucky with 2020. It's unbelievable. What are you gonna do?
So how about this? Speaking of luck, Ricky Ghilani beat Machilin by 0.38 points this week. And this was a big week for playoff seeding, and honestly, just getting into the playoffs, a big week for both teams. Despite Machilin's loss, he moves into the 2 slot because Andrew lost, which is very interesting. And then I just wanted to mention it's a lot of ruckus I hear.
Who's yelling at who?
Keep it professional, guys. We got listeners out there.
I don't know. All of a sudden, I heard a lot of ruckus. It threw me off.
I don't know. Can I get a drink?
Do whatever you want.
That's why he stopped in midst thought.
No. It's pitch silence over where I'm at. But so Machilin somehow, despite losing, went into the 2 slot. And also Machilin
goes into the 2 slot, just so you know, Doyle.
Machilin has 2 tough matchups coming up. He's in the 2 seed, but he could potentially not make the playoffs. This division, this No Scroll Mafia division, is freaking insane. And one other thing I wanted to mention: Machilin is the first fantasy football team I have ever seen in my whole life have 0 players go in the 1 p.m. Sunday slot. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Looking through the team scores, he had 0 players go in the 1 p.m. slot. So if you were looking at his matchup on Sunday at like 4:00, he had no players that had gone yet, and Ricky was up like 80-0. It was really weird.
Yeah, he knew he didn't have players play yet, and he still was freaking out. He was all counting himself out.
Yep.
He was freaking out before Sunday started.
Yeah.
For real. It's Machilin.
I don't know. I only have 1 quarterback to play in the
year. Not like that happened to every other team,
Right.
But yeah.
Multiple times.
That was a rule from the beginning.
Yeah, and he still almost put out. And you have to feel good. Josh Allen wasn't a part of his lineup because he was on bye, and he still dropped damn near 123 points. I mean, honestly, Michellin's got a really good team. He should feel good, even though his spot is in danger technically because he's in such a tough division.
And good quarterbacks. He's got good quarterbacks. So at least quarterbacks have been performing very well for fantasy football.
Herbert was huge for him.
Yeah, unfortunately for Moch, I mean, he's such a tricky subject, right? Like, half the time I'm rooting for him, half the time I'm rooting against him. He took Danny Dimes. I'm thinking, oh, you idiot. It's going to be terrible. But he's able to trade him out for Herbie Hancock, and that guy's unbelievable.
And that's it.
Yep.
And I wanted Herbie Hancock, but he spent 70 fab on him. 70.
God, I mean, he fucking put money where his mouth was, and he called this guy, and he won. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Overpaid by like $60, but he got his dude, man. That's all that matters.
Could be the first time in the BFFL history, right? Somebody, I mean, that could be the best pickup. I mean, obviously spent a lot, but look what that guy's doing, right? He's gonna he might finish top 5 quarterback.
I'd argue it was Jameis Winston last year, but that's
that motherfucker.
Him or Devontae Parker, really.
See, what's happened?
Those are the two. I picked them both off free agency last year and won with them. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, but so Herbert, despite not being named the starter in the first week and having a bye already, so he's missed 2 weeks. He's QB7. I mean, there's not really you can't ask for anything else from a waiver pickup.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
James Robinson.
He's averaging 1 point less than the top 2 quarterbacks. 1 point.
Wow. That's a great stat. That's a great stat.
And actually, Josh Allen is averaging 2 points more than the top 2 quarterbacks.
Wow.
So his quarterbacks are legit.
So, I mean, overall, despite the talk of Michellin's tough final 2 matchups against Wheezy and yours truly, I still am pretty bullish on Michellin's team. I feel like he's going to be a playoff team. Tough loss, but I think he has every reason to be excited going forward.
I do too.
It's a good team.
I think all he needs to do is win 1 game, and he locks it up. And even if he doesn't, he still could get in. So, I'd love his chances too. And if he gets in, he's got a good squad.
Absolutely.
Let me get this. Say that the cards fall right. Who would you rather have in the playoffs? Team Michelin or Team Tricky Ricky? And by have, I mean play against. Whose team is better? You don't want to play that team.
All right. Love that.
Russell Wilson's scary.
I don't want to play him and Derrick Henry. I don't want to play either of those guys.
But especially winter Derrick Henry. Scary.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That dude picks up. He turns it on when it gets cold. Like
I'd rather play Michelin.
He still has Big Ben, which isn't a slouch. So I don't know. That's to me. That's a toss up.
Is it a toss? I do not want to see Tricky Ricky.
Ricky's hurting with T. Higgins with Burrow out now.
Yeah.
This number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah. I don't even care. I do not want to play Derrick Henry or Russell Wilson in the playoffs.
No. Both of them can beat you.
By the way, he has
team.
Austin Eckler coming back.
Plus, Dallas Goedert can go off at any moment too.
Ertz is supposed to be back, but he's looked like shit all season. So.
But Goddard's done it with Ertz there. So
yeah, he has. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. I do not want to see Tricky Ricky. I was rooting for Michelin so hard that game. I probably knew that he lost before he knew. I was like fucking all over it.
Yeah.
Tricky Ricky, you do not want to see those players in the playoffs.
Ricky told me
that's because he hasn't lost his first or second round draft pick to injury yet.
Yeah, for the first time ever, right?
Another thing I was gonna say is that Ricky never wins, right? He makes it in the playoffs and never wins. So
Injuries.
you'd almost want to play him, but then I thought, oh wait, Michelin does the same thing. So you can't even bank it on that. Michelin's maybe worse.
So
Michelin make a managerial mistake leading to your win. Ricky will not. He'll play the best players, and I do not want to see some of those players come playoff.
So just to provide a counterpoint, I mean, I agree to everything you guys are saying, but Michelin's team is really good top to bottom. Obviously, he's got the 2 quarterbacks, which provides a really good advantage. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been pretty underwhelming, but he had a good week. If you look at, so Stephon Diggs was on his bench as well. Diggs is, currently wide receiver 8, so you slot him back in there. I mean, it's pretty close. Derrick Henry has the ability to totally change any matchup because he's liable to go off for like 40 points any week. But look, with Austin Eckler coming back, that complicates things further. But I think it's closer than you guys are letting on. These are 2 really, really good teams.
Well, what's Thielen's injury?
COVID.
So that won't. So at least we'll have him back for the playoffs. But he's losing Thielen next.
Oh, that's
week,
great
right?
news. That's great news. He's on the COVID list, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't play this week. That would be great.
Right. He has Antonio Brown. He's been picking it up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's getting more involved. I don't know if he's.
Yeah, Michelin's just really deep. Michelin's probably deeper than Ricky. He has a lot of really good players. Who has the better high-end talent? That's up to be decided. But I'm saying Michelin has Thielen, who's a top 5. He's number 4 currently in wide receivers. He's got 2 top 10 quarterbacks. It's a tough team right there.
Doesn't really help being deep though when you can only play 2 of each position. So
exactly. That's why we need to add a flex next year.
Yep, love the addition.
Absolutely.
I think it makes it a little bit better, but I think if we do add that flex, that we got to keep the rules the same for just commit to them for 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we have a lot of time to talk about that shit in the off season. I do agree.
Like 9 months.
Yeah, we're gonna be hurting for topics in the off season, but sorry,
I just got to ask you this question though as a follow up. You're going about for Team Michelin. I like Michelin's team. I do. You're in playoff contention. You're in the playoffs. Would you rather play Michelin or would you rather play GB? And keep in mind, there's the roster and there's the manager. Which one has the edge in your mind?
Well, the manager's a wash because both have never won anything or shown an ability to win anything. I would love to sit here and tell you that I think Michelin is a worse manager than Andrew GB, but I cannot sit here in good conscience and tell you that. I would rather play Andrew 10 times out of 10 as it is currently.
Why? That's a manager because of roster.
Well, because he consults with Hani and Hani tells him what not to do.
Honestly, I think that might be overblown. The whole Hani helps him out. Like I think Hani's a savage and he's not really trying to help his brother-in-law at all.
I think he would have won by now if he was.
Exactly.
He thinks he's helping him, but he's just really just playing with him the whole time. And Andrew just keeps asking and asking and asking and asking. And Hani's just like messing around with him.
And I'll go a step further and say outside of Andrew's RB1, Alvin Kamara, Michelin is better at every single position in the roster. Michelin honestly is my dark horse. Hot take alert. Michelin's my dark horse to go and win this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Won't even make the playoffs.
I think if Ricky makes it, if Ricky makes the playoffs, Ricky wins. I think Ricky wins if he gets in. It's all task getting in, but I think if he gets in, he's got it. It's weird.
I will say I don't want Michelin to win because he's being such a little bitch about losing. Like, oh, you lost. It sucks. Whatever. That doesn't, he wants to burn the whole thing down because he lost by 0.3 points. I mean, just sack up and get ready for week 12, man. Come on.
Like, that is the point of fantasy football. Like, if we knew the outcomes before the games, we wouldn't play them, right? It's just like, the best part of fantasy football is you don't know what's going to happen, and anything can happen day in, day out. I love that.
Also, the worst part.
It's amazing.
But you wouldn't have it any other way, right? You wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely.
The roller coaster ride of fantasy football is unlike anything else.
All right, so one thing I wanted to do while we're here is go through the Week 12 matchups. I'll call out the matchups, and then Wheezy, tell us who you think is going to win. Petey, tell us, and then Hartz. The first one I have here is yours truly, Doyal versus Machilin. Machilin is an early favorite by 2.5 points. Who do you guys think is going to win this Week 12 matchup? That honestly is a big matchup for Machilin.
You better fucking win.
I'm gonna do the best I can for you, man. If it says anything about how nutty ESPN projections are, Mahomes is projected to score less than Josh Allen. So I mean, you got to take those with a grain of salt. I am expecting Mostert to be back in his RB1 slot and DeAndre Swift, which is, I mean, fingers crossed. He did practice today. But luckily, I'll have a full squad. He's going to have a full squad. So it's really going to be a great test for my team going into the playoffs.
To your point about Allen being projected more than Mahomes, he does average more points than he does. So you can't really use that as an argument that ESPN doesn't know what they're doing.
Mahomes averages 26 points per matchup, and Allen averages 24. So not sure where you're getting those statistics.
Oh, I was looking at the projections. I might have just fucked up.
Burn.
This whole podcast. Throw it out. Let's start over.
That's all right.
I could have
It'll
sworn
probably
that
get deleted.
Stand by your takes.
Could have sworn that was average points. But okay. Oh, that changes things. All right, let me take a look.
Honestly, if I really like Machilin's team. My hope is that Adam Thielen misses the game. We'll see what happens.
Even with Thielen missing, he's got some good backups with AJ Brown and Mike Williams, but I feel like this is definitely like a playoff game right here with two contenders.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this feeling of like this Week 12 game not really mattering. Shout out to Gino and Noon for being so poor this year, but like this feeling of like, hey, I'd love to win, but it doesn't matter if I don't, is really different. It's really fun.
You might be playing James Conner and Adrian Peterson as your running backs though.
Hey,
if Mostert and Swift don't start, then it's fucking.
James Conner is out of my starting lineup because he's not getting the goal line carries. I mean, look, Raheem Mostert
not running well.
Thursday night.
He had a good game against Jacksonville, but
everyone has a good game against Jacksonville.
Touche. But listen, Mostert and Swift should be back. Wheezy, cross your fingers for me. Hopefully that's the lineup I want to see week in and week out right there. Hopefully it comes to fruition if they can come back from their injuries.
I have Swift in Dynasty, so I'm with you, buddy.
What's Kyler's? What do you know about Kyler's shoulder injury too?
Oh, it's very mild. He's expected to play. It's just a little sprain. No problem.
He's all right.
I think he played the rest of the game after getting it too, but I just didn't know if you heard any other news.
He's a baller.
No, not at all concerned. So moving on to we got King of Hearts and then we got Ghilani. I mean, honestly, like they're both out, but
rivalry. If anything, division wise is rivalry shit. This is rivalry shit.
Great point, Wheezy. Great point.
All right, I just want to finish higher than him, and that would be nice. But either way, we're both out of it. Doesn't really matter. But
backtracking
matters for pride, though, doesn't it?
Close. I really do think it's gonna be close.
Yeah, it matters for pride. I mean, look, I like Ghilani's team better this week. Just matchup based. If you look at, there's some juicy matchups. Watson's playing in Detroit. I mean, listen, I root for the Lions with Hani. They're an absolute disaster. They're going to get destroyed probably. Elliott is facing Washington. You got Ebron in there who's coming on strong. Cousins is playing Carolina. I just kind of like those matchups there for him.
I think it comes down to if Chris Carson plays, and he's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he beats me, actually, to be honest with you. My quarterbacks are such trash.
Yeah, they're putting you at a disadvantage. I mean, you're starting Alex Smith on one leg, you know.
If I still had Drew Brees and Fitzmagic, I think this whole season would be completely different. I'd be fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah,
could be.
Hard.
Yeah, brings into question though. You knew it was going to be super flex, and it doesn't sound like you put too much emphasis on the 2 QBs.
I didn't.
You explain that.
I did not, because I thought I'd be able to make it up with my team. I think my team is pretty good. It's just that I don't know. I thought going into it, I thought Drew Brees was going to have a more serviceable year. Plus, he got hurt, so that hurts. But I thought he was going to have a more serviceable year. And then I forget who else my other quarterback was, but I really wanted to get. I was holding off to get Cam Newton, and Wheezy picked him one pick before me. Yeah, he hasn't been great. He's been on COVID a little bit and hasn't been all that great.
I wish you would have taken him.
But he's been absent. Hey, I wish I would have too, because it would be better than having Alex Smith currently. You know what I mean? Like right now, I wouldn't have Alex Smith on my team.
Thank you, Andrew, for Jared Goff.
Yeah, just some weird stuff.
Yeah, Hart, you whiffed. You whiffed this year, buddy. You whiffed.
I don't think. It's weird. I just think it's weird that you say that. I think that injuries really hurt my team, and that's nothing you can really.
What injuries?
What?
What injuries?
Miles Sanders had injuries from the beginning, right?
All right, I lost CMC. What else you got?
You had one injury.
Well, I'm not saying that my team is better than Wheezy's or whatever. It's a serviceable team, and things could have changed and could have been better if.
All right, yeah. What's the next? What's the next subject? Arts seems terrible. Everybody knows.
All right.
I mean, the poor guy. But listen, actually, what you got?
Hurts.
I have a hot take that I want to get out there. It's not fantasy related, but I said this last week, and the guys I work with were like, "Oh, you're fucking stupid." But my hot take is that the Rams are a legit Super Bowl contender. I don't think they'll win, but I think they could easily go to the Super Bowl because their defense is very, very good. And I know that take's probably not as hot as it was before they beat Tampa Bay, but I do think their defense is really good and the NFC is wide open. If the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, though, no one's going to beat them. They're going to win. The next game we got is
such a user take.
I just don't think there's really any team that's really that good.
Keep going, Kamish. Keep going.
Even
don't let the haters stop you.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oozing Machismo versus your bye week, Pat Mahar. I think this is the week that Mahar is eliminated. Hani's team is good. He has the pickup of the year, even though we talked about Herbert earlier. James Robinson is the pick of the year. He has the two best wide receivers. He has the best wide receiver group by far in the whole game. I just think his team is not a championship team, but it's a playoff team that I wouldn't really be excited to play. And Mahar, I just don't think has enough firepower to keep up. Wheezy, what do you think?
I think Mahar can take him in this week, in this matchup. He's got Chubb and Balaj against Robinson and Edwards. I mean, if Edwards starts and Dobbins and Ingram are both COVID restricted, then I think Hani's got a chance. But
oh yeah, isn't Edwards on the COVID list or something?
No, the other two are. So it's right now it's all Edwards.
Gotcha.
So I'd give him the win right now, but I mean Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Nick Chubb, that's a solid start to a team. His quarterbacks suck. His tight end sucks. Mayer's not a great team.
Yeah, you know,
if Vaughn Hart's a playoff team, he should be fucking crushing them right now. Like it's.
Yeah. You know, I will say, when it comes to Hani's team right now, he's never really quite filled in that other running back slot. He's probably better off just continuing to start Metcalf also in the QB2 slot. I don't know what you guys think about that, but
it's better than his other option.
Yeah, I mean he has Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and he has DK Metcalf. I mean, how can you sit any of those guys? I mean, it's just crazy.
Wrong lineup, wrong league.
Yes, not the right rules.
Well, I mean, no one told him he has to draft. What did he draft? Like 4 wide receivers with his first 5 picks. No one told him he had to do that. I mean, he's the one who did that.
But
someone might have. We don't know.
You did not do it right. But I'm just saying that's why the rules are stupid.
The rules are
stupid.
The rules are stupid because Hani decided to draft like that? I mean, I don't get that logic.
No, it's because he has 3 awesome players he can't play.
Well, that's his own fault, isn't it?
He can't play all those players. He had a bad draft strategy, but the whole point is he's got 3 ridiculous players and he can only play 2 of them. It's stupid.
All right, I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean, Kalen Ballage, zombie Kalen Ballage. I didn't even know he was still in the league. He's come on as a startable player. I mean, he might be a difference maker for Mahar this week.
I just don't get the.
He's been solid.
I don't get.
I like him.
Hart. I can't believe you're saying Hart did it wrong when Hart is like one of the better teams in the league right now. What are you talking about?
He never traded any. I mean, he traded some of his depth for a tight end, but he should have used his wide receivers for a quarterback or a running back. He needed a running back quarterback.
Quarterbacks are too important. You can't trade 2 bench people for a quarterback. It just doesn't happen. It's impossible. You're not going to trade a quarterback for that. It's just like
that's not his fault. That's the league's.
So you got to trade Metcalf plus something to get a quarterback. But the whole thing that I'm trying to say is that's stupid. You know what I mean?
Listen to this.
Yeah, Metcalf and Hill, and you can't play them all. It's stupid.
Yeah, listen to this, though.
What if you're
this is insane.
You get hurt. What do you?
Listen to Connor.
Hani drafted the number 1 wide receiver despite missing 2 games to injury, Devontae Adams. He has the number 2 wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. And he has the number 3 wide receiver, DK Metcalf. Okay? And he also traded to Machillin. He traded to Machillin Stephon Diggs, who's the number 8 wide receiver. So he drafted 4 of the top 10 wide receivers. I mean, honestly, say what you want about whether he drafted smart or not. Hani is a good talent evaluator, and I think he should have unloaded one of his wide receivers so he could get, like you said, a high-end quarterback or something. I know he offered DK to me for Kyler Murray. I didn't want to give away Kyler. But Hani, don't ever doubt his talent evaluation. He drafted 4 of the top 10 wide receivers. Absolutely.
I'm not doubting it.
Brilliant job.
How stupid is that? You have 4 of the top 10 wide receivers, and your team's like middle of the pack, like top 3rd. You know?
I don't know, but I'm lined up to play him in the playoffs week 1, and I don't want any part of him.
How your wide receivers looking?
I'm just saying his team's unbelievable. He made all these amazing picks, but it doesn't really matter because of the stupid format.
You know what? We're not going to argue about
play within the fucking rules of the game or whatever.
He's gone around the format and has succeeded. Like he is taking. It doesn't matter what the format is. He's succeeding. Like I don't even understand what you're talking about.
We're not going to talk about the format anyway.
Format is stupid. The guy has 3 top 3 wide receivers, and he's
not 3 top 3.
Let's move on. I think Hani's going to win. I think, I don't really care what anyone else has to say. Let's just move on so we don't talk about the goddamn format. I mean, we've got a rivalry game here. We got Steam versus Nooner.
He's 1 game behind your record. 1 game. You're at the top record in the league, and he's 1 game behind you, and you're saying that he's middle of the pack? What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's middle of the pack. He's got the best team. He's got the incredible wide receivers, and he's not number one. That's what I'm saying. He's not number one. He's got three of the top three wide receivers. That speaks to how stupid the league rules are.
Okay.
Hey, but are you having fun?
Or my team has to do with how dumb the league rules are.
All right.
You were complaining that you were saying that he fucked up by choosing his team the way he chose it.
No. Well, yeah, I guess I'm saying that a little bit.
All right. Let's move on.
I'm saying a little bit because he, despite the fact that he has three of the top three wide receivers, the league rules kind of indicate he doesn't have the best team, and that's what I'm saying. It's stupid.
Well, all right, that's
stupid on him.
Listen.
I'm out.
Let's move on because we're beating a dead horse here. We'll talk about it in the group message and see what people think. Listen. Weezy brought up a good point. I disparaged a matchup earlier because it wasn't important, but it's still a rivalry matchup. All the matchups are important. People should be playing for pride. We have Nooner versus Gino in the hipster woke ones division. Honestly, Nooner is at a big disadvantage because he lost his quarterback. Prayers up to Joe Burrow. I hope he's all right. That's awful what happened. But Nooner's at a big disadvantage because he's now out of quarterback. I think.
And Gino has three of them.
Yeah. Gino might get his third, fourth win of the year here this week.
Some people actually believe that Gino's team should be locked, and that
he
shouldn't be allowed to play.
He can't move because he's eliminated, so he can't drop or add any players.
Good point, Weezy.
Some people actually think
I forgot about that.
So, I don't know why we're discussing a matchup that we're not even allowed to play.
Although I did text him to tell him that he should drop Taysom Hill so I can pick him up.
Oh, I want him to drop.
I have more fab than you, so it don't matter.
Do you? How much you got?
All right.
I'm out. I'm mathematically old, and I'm not allowed to pick him up.
That's right, motherfucker.
Stupid. Probably one of the dumbest rules that's ever been implemented into this league.
That was my point.
It's so dumb. I'm one that wants to play for pride. I don't want to lose any game. It doesn't matter if I 0 wins. I don't want to lose any. I want to win every single game. And by you telling me that I can't continue to play in a game that I put money into is just a ridiculous thing.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring that up at the next voting. So the next matchup, we got Team Gaudy versus Team Greg. Huge matchup. We talked about Andrew's danger with possibly not making the offs. And Gaudy's looking to just cruise on ahead here. Really interesting matchup. I think despite Gaudy being really good, he still has lineup decisions to make. He's got CeeDee Lamb and he's got Melvin Gordon on the bench. Who's he going to start? Obviously, running backs are probably set.
No wide receivers on that team.
Yeah, Julio Jones is just kind of really up and down. You never know what you're going to really get.
He's a good name.
Yeah, I like his name.
Sometimes a good name is the most dangerous thing when you're a manager, though, in Gaudy's situation.
Also, being a freak athlete helps.
Yes. He'll probably do is he'll continue starting Julio because what else can he do, really? I don't know, Gaudy, if you want to come in here and explain, your thought process there.
Yeah, I would say, how do you share screens on this platform here?
I don't think anyone wants to see your screen.
You can't share screens? You gotta share.
What do you mean? I can see. I see you right now. I see you.
Yeah.
I can.
Shared screens. Tell me, Corey, you know about shared screens. You just, whatever's on your computer, you put it up there so everybody else can see it.
I'm
the host. Shared screens does
not
make it shared.
I'm the only one who can do it. I'm the only one who can
know about shared screens?
Who doesn't know about shared screens? Are you shitting me?
I didn't. You know about them?
I'm gonna flip this.
How do you share your screen? How do you share your screen?
Unbelievable. Really, Mike Evans is one of those Julio Joneses too. Really, if you think about it.
Hit or miss.
He's
touchdown or none.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. He's getting all the red zone targets the past couple weeks, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you guys think that drafting somebody that gets touchdowns is a stupid draft thing.
I think that the only thing keeping you afloat is your two running backs. Really, team's actually kind of bad.
It's only Aaron Jones and fucking Dalvin Cook that's keeping your team afloat. That's it.
All right.
Yeah, my team's okay. I'm not gonna pretend like it's amazing, but I did do pretty good drafting.
Drafting what? 2 picks.
Depth, and Matt Ryan's okay. Aaron Rodgers has been playing out of his ass. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't continue what he's been doing, that team might be screwed.
Noah Fant's not good anymore. He was good for the first 2 weeks. He's not good anymore.
You shut your poor mouth.
I'd probably rather play Gaudy of all of the playoff teams. It would be the person I would want to play.
It's a really great coming place. That's really important to the discussion, right?
That's a great hot take. Great hot take. I'd rather play Gaudy than anyone else. That's a great hot take.
In the playoffs, of playoff teams. Look at them.
Nope. Playoff teams?
If you're calling Andrew a playoff team, then maybe Andrew.
This week?
Andrew, Gaudy.
Okay, well, I would like Aaron Rodgers just to shred you in the playoffs. That would be amazing.
Despite Gaudy's clearly flawed roster, I will take him this week against Andrew. And Andrew's set up for a very, very nerve-wracking Week 13.
Yep, I agree. I just think
suck it, Andy.
You suck it.
Off teams. I think I want to play Gaudy.
Ryan Hartz. Oh, man. Not gonna make it. Too bad.
Listen, the other jewel of Week 12, another rivalry matchup. We have Wheezy versus Ricky Ghilani. A must-win, an absolute must-win for Wheezy. What are you guys seeing in this matchup?
I just wish I had Gaudy's roster up when he was talking all that shit earlier.
That's what I'm talking about. Share screen. I can't put anything up there for everybody to diagnose.
What are you trying to put up? You trying to be, Professor Gaudy? Like put up numbers? What are you doing?
We gotta get on the Microsoft Teams. You can put it all out there for everybody to see.
Shit. All right, what's this? What is it? Wheezy versus who?
Only the host can share screens.
And I think this is the best matchup of the week.
Yeah. Big matchup.
This is early playoff, wild card matchup.
Yep. So really the winner of this has a real good shot of getting into the playoffs.
The winner of this is in the playoffs.
Is it?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm fucking not a mathematician. Shit.
Yeah, you are. You're the only CPA in this group.
That doesn't mean shit.
You're the one that's supposed to be counting.
Can't even count.
I'll count you.
All right, I'm getting up on my fucking step stool. I'm going Wheezy with a big win this week. That's what I'm going for because you know why? Because I like fucking all these matchups he's got. I think he's gonna have someone go off and win him the week. I think Derrick Henry's got a tough matchup in Indy. I'm going Wheezy.
Have you seen Indy's defense play? They are legit, man. Really?
I don't know.
I'm happy with that.
For some reason,
Indy's D.
I don't know. They don't feel like they should be good, or like when I watch
They're not fucking top 5. Like shut your ass out, but they good.
I feel like anytime I watch an Indy game, how is this team good at all? It's like really weird, but
because their offense sucks.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah,
defense is on the field a lot, probably. I guess, but I don't like that he
Sounds like there's an absolute banger happening at someone's house. Where is that coming from?
I think it's Gaudy.
I think it's mostly the dogs.
I think it's Mondo playing some shooter game.
They're running around everywhere, the dogs.
Everyone say hi to Alicia.
Sounds like a shooter game.
What
up?
Team Fryer.
I think that... No, you don't have to mute it, Gaudy. You don't have to mute it. Don't worry.
Mute your ass, bitch.
I just thought it was funny because it's it's not all the time, but like every couple seconds it'll come in and it sounds like it's just like a rager happening.
I think it's either a shooter. It's either a shooter game or an action movie.
50.
But anyways, I'm gonna take Ricky. And I'm gonna take Ricky to win next week and make it into the playoffs, win the division.
Oh, I don't want to see Ricky.
Okay.
And then.
So which member of that division is going to be left out of the playoffs? Because I think it's guaranteed 2 are going to make it.
And then he beats Gaudy the first time he plays him in the playoffs, and Ricky goes on to lose in the championship to Honhart. That sucks. Not happy about it.
Come on, man. Not Honhart. Ryan division got to hold strong.
Actually, how do we see the projected bracket?
Well, on the app, you just go to schedule and playoff bracket. So
I'm gonna lose it if you tell me that you cannot share screens on this app.
Only the host can share a screen. Have you ever been on a fucking video conference before?
We're doing Skype again.
Right.
We're not doing Skype again. We're gonna do something else.
So Gaudy's got the 1 seed, Michelle's got the 2 seed, the 3 seed is Andrew, the 4 seed is me, the 5 seed is Hani, the 6 seed is currently Ricky.
Yep.
Currently.
Currently.
Bitches.
When Ricky loses to Wheezy this week, that'll flip.
Try my first.
Gaudy, who do you play again?
I don't know.
Next 2 weeks, Gaudy. I think Gaudy actually falls out of the number 1 spot before the playoffs.
Is that your hot take?
It doesn't get a bye and loses in the first round.
He's playing Andrew.
Man.
Probably Ricky.
He's playing Andrew.
Who? Gaudy?
That's who Gaudy's playing.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you Gaudy, like what, 60-40?
Yeah, Gaudy probably wins that actually.
Bitch.
That's just maybe wishful thinking. I think Gaudy's team's not very good, so I'd like for him to have to play as many games.
Of course, it's Gaudy. No sword mafia.
No sword.
Not a very good team. Not worried about it either way. 4 years, 4 great teams. I'm a force to be reckoned with. I don't care what the poll says.
Bitch, please.
No sword mafia.
No sword mafia coming for you.
All right, boys. Hey, look, my hot take coming into this was that Gaudy wasn't going to win the squirrel, but everyone's just been talking mad shit on Gaudy's team, so it's not really a hot take anymore. Look, I think Gaudy's a little better than we're giving him credit for, but is there any other takes anyone wants to throw out there before we go our separate ways?
Yeah, so I think that Gaudy needs to win this year to be able to be considered an actual threat in the league.
He already won once. Why would he need to win again to be considered a threat?
Because Gino's won one.
That's a good point. Gino's an idiot.
Do you consider?
Come on. At least Gaudy won one when Wi-Fi existed. I mean, Gino won back when you had to make sure no one picked up the phone while you were on the internet, or else it would disconnect you. I mean, that's not even that's a false equivalency there.
But it's still one.
No, you're fucking qualifying.
You don't base everything off one time. right? You can't just give him. You can't just say he's a contender now that he's won once. I think that he has to. Okay, we'll say
you gotta recognize.
If he makes the championship, I'll say that he is a good fantasy football player for here on out.
No. It's the squirrel winners and the non-squirrel winners, and the worst thing that ever happened in this league is you winning a second squirrel, because you're gonna go in and say, "Oh, unless you win two, you're not legitimate." No, when I win a squirrel, I am legitimate from that point on, no matter what you say. Gaudy's legitimate.
Well, why didn't you say that? When Gaudy asked,
thanks, Doily. Thank you.
I like that.
Gaudy asked that question at the beginning. You didn't
Well,
agree to
no. He asked if he was a yearly, year in, year out threat to win the league.
Heart.
That's what we're talking about? I thought that's what we're talking about.
Well, hey, no. You can't just throw his squirrel out because he's only won one. No. He has that forever.
Squirrel's a squirrel. Squirrel's a squirrel.
I'm not saying I didn't throw his squirrel out because that happened 4 years ago. I'm saying just because he won a squirrel 4 years ago doesn't make him a legit contender every year. I think that he has to try to contend a little bit this year to be considered a contender.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right.
You said 4 years in a row of contention. Then consider contention.
All right, so that's Hartz's hot take. My hot take is that Andrew has been a good fantasy football player for the last number of years. He's shown promise, but until he's able to dedicate a little bit more time and effort into becoming a champion, he will never, ever win this league. He needs to go to the next level.
GB, give up now.
Throwing unnecessary salt on GB. All right. I'm down for it.
Stop, GB. Hurry up.
Fucking miss the playoffs, GB.
I think you could actually put an argument for GB being the best no squirrel mafia.
You could, but I think Ricky's the best.
Yeah, I'm just saying you could.
Fuck you too.
I think Ricky is the best to not win yet either.
Wheeze is the best to not win.
You're not always, but
Ricky's you're definitely the best preseason.
We can end it on the
This isn't even saying that I think Ricky would win before you, but he is always in contention. I do think that he can't win though. I just don't think that he's a winner.
It's usually his injuries that happen first, second pick that keeps him out.
He gets crushed with that. That's his biggest thing.
Which is why I like him in my division.
Weezy, your biggest thing is Ghilani thinks your team's good every year.
Gaudy wasn't the winner. Mahar wasn't the winner. Come on. Every rule's made to be broken here.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I think that was a good pod.
Connor is clearly the best fucking team going into this playoffs. If you guys can't realize that, you fucking crazy.
What?
His team.
He's got two players that can easily put up 40 points at any time.
Who? Connor.
Yeah.
Going into it, I
fucking
like
crazy
quarterbacks too.
Yeah, I don't want to put Connor's team either.
I love Connor's team. I'd rather have Connor's team than Gaudy's team.
So
Absolutely.
we put money on this, right?
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to play Connor's team.
You don't want to?
No, I don't want to play that team. Are you kidding me?
No, I don't either. I wouldn't either.
Kyler and Mayor Mahomes?
Fuck out of here.
Get out of here. Exactly. Thank you, Weezy.
I agree.
Fucking low point is they both put up 20. That's their fucking low point.
Yep.
You want to
finally someone's talking?
That? Go ahead.
Finally, someone knows what they're talking about.
Jesus Christ!
I think
shouts out to Weezy.
I think we've been saying that the whole time. You have the best quarterbacks, and that's usually what happens.
Yeah, but no one listens to you, Hartz. You fucking argue with everyone.
Exactly. No one ever listens. No one can ever listen.
All right, boys. Weezy, Gaudy, any hot takes that before we leave here?
This league dies before next year.
Ooh.
Oh, don't even say that.
What the fuck? Get out of here, Weezy. What the fuck is that?
That's brutal.
I'd say the only way that happens is if we're all together at the draft in 2021 and there's like a gas explosion. Because as you know, you can't leave this league until you've left this mortal plane.
All right, then we need to fucking get everyone together and fucking vote on rules instead of fucking let it up to 3 retards.
Draft Summit 2021. Oh, it's already figured out, Weez. It's already figured out. Draft Summit 2021.
Truer words have never been said.
All right, listen.
Summit 2021. Write it down, Connor.
Wheezy on point.
All right. Listen.
Green hair and all.
Great pod. Great pod. I'm gonna go eat some chicken noodle soup. You guys have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll see you on the other side of the holiday for another episode of the BFFL pod.
Yep.
See you bitches tomorrow.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.